Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. I hope you're having an incredible week. I haven't done a live video in a couple of weeks since I've returned back from China just a couple of days ago. I went on some unrelated business and some related business as well, trying to introduce some natural products into the Chinese market. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I think I'm going to cover a few topics in my brief moments. I think there's a few things on my head and I want to share it with you. I want to try to figure out a way to relate it all together. And hopefully at the end, this whole big mishmash will all come together and tell a story. So first thing I'd like to take note of is what's going on in China as far as food goes. You know, especially during the poor years, Chinese were forced to eat whatever they could get, whether it came from the ground or the tree or the store. They were growing their own foods, eating their whole foods, and not wasting a thing. So when you eat in a Chinese restaurant, they will serve you the whole fish with the head and the eyes and the teeth and the tail. They will not throw away parts of the meat. They eat the tripe, they eat the intestines, they stuff it with things, and they use the skin of one animal to stuff it with the vegetables from this plant, and they make dumplings out of just about everything. And that's what's actually kind of cool. You never know what's inside the dumplings. It can get a little scary. The truth is, I tend to eat predominantly vegetarian-based food while I'm there. I try to avoid meat as much as possible. Certainly, there's not a whole lot of dairy, and so it turns out to be a whole lot of vegetables, which is great. What's wrong with that? I guess today's talk is done for the day. No, because what I'm noticing, I've been going to China now for about 12 years. And when I first started going to China, excuse me, I'm not a tall guy, but I was noticeably taller and larger than a lot of the people, the regular people. And I'd be traveling on train between city to city and notice that, wow, in Toronto, when I walk around amongst my friends, I'm quite often the shortest guy around. But in China, I wasn't. Now, one thing they do have going in their favor is they didn't seem to have much of a weight problem. Everybody's very slim and slender. Even the men have very slim and slender bodies. And I've learned that this could be from all the soy that they've been eating for generations and estrogen, different estrogenic balances and things going on in their bodies. But what I'm starting to notice, and I'm sure you've heard about it on the news, you've read about it, or Instagram, who knows, Chinese people are no longer just eating Chinese food, or what they just call food. They're eating what we are trying to stay away from. There isn't a plaza there without at least a KFC, a McDonald's, even Burger King is starting to make a name for themselves. Not to mention Starbucks. Every block has a Starbucks. So there's Starbucks, there's McDonald's, there's all the stuff you're used to. Even Subway is starting to make its way into places like Shanghai and Beijing and Guangzhou, some of the larger cities. The problem is, here's the problem. These Chinese people are eating the McDonald's and the KFC and they don't realize yet what it's doing to them. First of all, they don't have the same trans fats laws as we have here. So their foods are loaded with trans fats as it was here 20, 30 years ago. And they're lining up out the doors. I'm telling you, I saw a plaza with 2 floors and one on each corner of the top right and the top left corner. There was a Kentucky Fried Chicken. And then just below that, around the corner, was another outdoor KFC. 3 KFCs in one plaza, a McDonald's across the street, Subways on every corner. And guess what? They're all busy. They're lining up for their foods, and they have different stuff. Instead of the typical burgers that we have here, they have stuff with sausages and shrimp and all kinds of, but it's still just junk food. And they're getting bigger. They are getting fatter. Years ago, they would make jokes about people from America being overweight. And now you walk around the streets of Shanghai, Guangzhou, Beijing, Shaoxing, where all these different cities, and there's obese, not overweight, obese Chinese local people walking around with their shirts barely able to hang on anymore. Buttons are ready to fly off at 1,000 miles an hour from the pressure. Standing in line, eating their French fries and burgers and ice cream and chicken McNuggets and blueberry muffins, and they're eating all the stuff we know isn't good for us. They're eating what we have been eating and why we're at this point where we are. When you walk through America, I was in Florida at Christmas. My gosh, what is going on down there? Everybody's bigger than the last person and nobody's ashamed of it. You just change the size in the pants, right? What used to be a large is now considered a medium, so you don't feel bad about yourself. And there's non-fat aisles and big obese people pushing their shopping carts filled with diet foods. Tons of them. But that's going on in China now, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind because traditionally, they would eat a lot of vegetables, greens, a little bit of rice, a little bit of fish or chicken, and then they would move on with the rest of the day and finish it off with some soup. But that's not happening anymore. They're eating the foods we ate, and they're getting big and they're getting unhealthy. So that's my first thing of notice in China. China is quickly catching up to America in more than one way. Yes, their obesity is becoming an issue. Smoking is frantic. You'd think it was 1947. Everybody's smoking. Everybody's eating fried foods. You can only imagine what's going on with their healthcare over there. I mean, it's got to be out of control. It's got to be out of control. On the other hand, with so many people, over 1.3 billion people, maybe it doesn't matter as much. Maybe they're just filtering out the weak and leaving the strong. It's just a fascinating, perplexed place. So that's number one point about China. Number 2 point about China. And this might throw some people off a little bit, but I want to see if I can bring the points all together. So we all know China, everything's made in China. Made in China, made in China. Everything is made in China. The good stuff is made in China. The not so good stuff is also made in China. What we do know is that they're making it cheap, and the longer they do our manufacturing for the world, the better they are at it. They've got all the good machinery and the skilled laborers. They're the ones investing in automated factories. Not here. We have no more factories here. Nobody's investing in that. So they're getting really good at what they do. And they're working really hard. You walk through these factories, I mean, you hear those machines are buzzing, generators are pumping, food is being made on massive scale, huge levels. And then you get outside and the taxi drivers, they're hustling for the business. They're hustling for the business. Outside of restaurants, one after another. People saying, please come eat here. Please come in here. I want you to eat. They are working their asses off. And that's why they're becoming number one. Because, dare I say, they deserve it? I mean, they're working really hard. I see what's going on here. I see what's going on at Second Cup and Starbucks and Aroma. I see what's going on at lunchtime in the suburbs. They're filled with people taking 2-hour lunches, drinking big cups of herbal tea, and these incredible, decadent, beautiful experiences, while in China, they're eating and they're working and they're working and they're eating and they're taking care of themselves, because this is their renaissance. This is the evolution of China. This is what was going on. This is their industrial revolution. Their world is about to change. Their middle class is expanding by the minute. So much so that they're starting to spend money. And people are interested in bringing in healthy things to China. It's mind-blowing. My associate in China, Simon, who I've known now for 12 years, he's now being encouraged to have a second child. Apparently in China now, if you make a certain amount of money, you're highly encouraged to have a second child to avoid taxation. And so he's telling me how he wants to start bringing in baby formula and cleansers and cleaners and all different types of products, because he doesn't trust what's being made in China. So it's a weird changing environment right there, and we could actually learn from it, although they're trying to emulate us. Their work ethic, their focus, their strive, the fear of somebody taking your job right behind you if you don't perform well. That's what's driving the forces in China. That's what's happening down there. They're working hard, they're becoming number one, and they're losing track of their food. So why am I talking about all this? I'm talking about this because I was there. I was there for 11 days and I needed to eat. And I was traveling and the food was foreign and the timing was off. And I was traveling with somebody who definitely didn't have the same dietary focus as I had. So it made things a little bit challenging. And I made it through. I lost a little bit of weight, which of course I was not trying to do. And then I made myself to BC, where I hung out with my sister for a couple of days and started eating healthy again and cleansing myself up. And here I am back in Canada, kissing the ground on which I walk. I love my country. Blue skies, clean air, fresh food. And so that's what I'm trying to bring back now. It's got me thinking about how important it is to really focus on real whole foods again, and not to fall into the traps that are so easily placed in like minefields for us. You know, I had 3 new clients start with me today, and each one of these 3 clients today were excited to start their journey. Because that's the most exciting part, right? We start out full of vigor and energy. We're focused. We're determined to succeed. We want to go hard. And you do go hard. First week is awesome. Second week, even better. But what happens? Then the third week, things start to trickle away. And my whole objective now is to find a way so that as the program and as your progress continues, you don't lose focus and you don't lose that stamina. You see, with the diet cycle that most people are used to, you start off all excited, then you start to take foods away. Maybe perhaps you're not eating grains or you're not eating certain macronutrients. Well, that is going to have an impact. You will start to lose weight. Of course, you're going to start to lose weight. But eventually, your body starts to recognize that there's nutritional deficiencies from holding off on those foods. And these nutritional deficiencies force your body to go into something called a famine response. And once we hit famine response, well, then our body's metabolism slows down. And once our metabolism slows down, we start to store fat in preparation of the oncoming famine. So now you stabilized and the weight's no longer falling off. You're no longer feeling motivated and focused, right? You thought everything, well, you were doing great up until this point. Then why didn't it last? Because it wasn't sustainable. Well, it wasn't sustainable to restrict so many nutrients from your diet that eventually you start to crave it. Your body slows down, you're no longer getting the results. Now you're starting to have little cravings, right? Start, wow, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. You're missing it physically, and your brain is tricking you into thinking it's okay. Of course, if you don't eat carbs, you're going to start to crave for carbs. Our bodies use carbs as fuel. And once you start to reduce those, well, your body will start to crave them and trick you into thinking it's okay. Oh, it's just a cookie, it's just a scoop of ice cream, it's just a pizza, it's just an entire pizza folded in half and eaten like a sandwich. Because that's a slippery slide. Anybody who's ever quit smoking knows one or two drags, one or two cigarettes, and you're sneaking a pack into your car, and it's hiding in the trunk, and you're spraying yourself with Febreze so nobody knows. It does not take long. How many people I see when I go to fill up with gas at the Petro-Canada, sitting in the A&W in their cars, eating A&W hamburgers with their tinted windows rolled right up. Too ashamed to have lunch inside, knowing they're doing something wrong. Looking down into those cell phones as they trickle through that drive-through, shamefully preparing to order a food they know they shouldn't be eating. Excuse me. So, yes, this is a little bit all over the place today, and really what I'm trying to project is that we know what is right for us. And if the people in China are so able to work so hard at bringing themselves forward, we can do the same here. We can't lose focus on what's important in our lives. We've already been through this revolution. We've worked hard, we've saved money, we've lost money, we've spent money. We overindulge, we're gluttonous by nature. More is better. Bigger is better. Would you like a large size for an extra 50 cents? Buy one, get one free. BOGO. We're all about more, more, more. And China's just entering through that world right now. We're lucky enough to be on the other side, though. We're not overly focused in that consumption of material goods as we should be. Yeah, we have our phones and our Uggs and our expensive jeans and fancy cars. But we're not, I think we've evolved to the point that we no longer have to overindulge ourselves to feel satisfied. And that comes with the way we eat and the way we manage our lives entirely. Maybe it's time we start to get a little bit of control over how we feel and how it's connected to this world. Here we see a country with 1.2 billion people, and they're becoming obese and unhealthy when they could be at the peak of their game. It's the beginning of the Chinese era right now. They are taking over the world because they're working hard and they deserve it. Imagine how much more they could do if they were sticking to their traditional foods and fueling themselves for the journey ahead. And the same goes for us. The same goes for you. Let's fuel ourselves for success. Let's prepare for success. You can't think at 3 p.m, oh my God, what am I going to make for dinner tonight? You need to know by lunch, what are you doing today for food? Because if you don't prepare, you will find yourself hungry. If you find yourself hungry, well then, it all goes to hell, doesn't it? You can't make a right choice when you're hungry, when you're famished and being bombarded with media, and you have an hour to go before the kids get home, and you haven't thought of dinner, and you have to go buy the groceries, and then you buy... The day's shot. Next thing you know, you're eating muffins. Prepare for your day and find some success. Prepare for success. And don't be afraid to start. The 3 members with whom I spoke with today, they're all excited to start their journey. And I'm trying to tell them that This is the first step of the next step. One step just leads to another first step. You don't always have to look at the big picture. Maybe for now, just look one step ahead. Just do today what you know is right and start to prepare for tomorrow so that you can also have another day that's great. Just prepare for success. Know that if you work really hard, you can be a champ. You don't have to go to bed feeling guilty for the snacks you just ate and then wake up already behind the 8 ball. Why not snack at night? Go to bed early, have a good sleep, wake up in the morning feeling accomplished, feeling like you've succeeded something. It's all these tiny little successes in life that add up to our overall well-being. And any little success that we can accomplish that's going to trigger a chemical reaction in our brain and have us feeling strong and having feeling positive, that's going to encourage growth. That's what's going to fuel you to success. The little tiny things that we take for granted. So tonight, don't eat those cookies on the couch. Just don't. Skip them. Enjoy your evening, go to sleep early, wake up feeling like a champ, and you will have the day that a champ deserves. Starting your day off on the right foot, full of vigor, full of energy, and ready to do it again. I am so excited to be back in Canada. If anybody wants to talk about it, I can't stop talking. I just want to help now. I'm excited, I'm feeling reinvigorated, and I guess my plans are starting to take shape. Everybody, I want you to have a great week. Eat well, plan ahead. It's never too late to start. And remember, if you want to be well, you've got to eat well.